avoid those? I have a sweet tooth. How do I avoid the sweet cravings? Please give us some tips. I'm sure there are many like me.
There are tons like you, including me. So yeah, it's true. I have a really bad sweet tooth. And I always find when I do my own sort of work with my clients and they do, say for instance, they do the gut cleanse and we come off sugar. After 3 days of being off sugar, your taste buds start to change.
Oh,
And it's such a phenomenal thing. If you've never tried it, you should give it a go. Now, I do have a sweet tooth, and even during while working with me, if you have a sweet tooth, there are ways you can actually get sweetness into your diet. But because your taste buds actually begin to change in as little as 3 days, maybe for some for 4 days or five, but you start to taste the sweetness in, for instance, raw carrots, you start to taste the sweetness in real food rather than this huge. The problem with commercial baked goods, for instance, those that sweet tooth hit that you're looking for in a chocolate or whatever your favorite chocolate is, or a donut, or whatever it is your go-to is. What is your go-to?
dark chocolate. I shifted to dark chocolate and white chocolates. Yeah, and Indian sweets, that is sugar-based ones. But shifting to good occasion, the brown sugars slowly. But still, I have a craving for sweets.
So
The moment.
that's exactly it. So once you stop, of course you're going to get the headache. Of course you're going to struggle. But if you just tell yourself no, I
Yeah.
do the if-then approach. So if I fancy an Indian sweet,
Yeah.
I will have a date with a walnut inside it. So yeah, I've still got my omega-3s. I've got a
Yeah.
natural sugar.
Wow. Yeah.
But eventually you'll start to taste sweetness in other things. So if you just stop and or you make yourself busy. So for instance, when you get that craving, which we all do, make yourself busy doing something else completely different. Take yourself away from the kitchen, which is a huge trigger for most. They just walk into the kitchen and open the fridge. I'm guilty of it. So take yourself somewhere else, do something completely boring, like sort out your sock drawer or underwear drawer or your makeup bag or something, just do something completely, and you'll be surprised how quickly your brain switches onto another thing and it forgets that it wants chocolate
That's
or that it wants Indian sweet or anything. So
that's
after some
lovely.
time, it becomes easier. So many people I take through like my 28-day challenge say to me, wow, I I don't even want it. It's making me cringe.
Mm.
So,
It's nice.
and there are ways to do it. I have some
Yeah.
really nice recipes, like I
Honey.
love
I,
telling
I
people
feed on honey sometimes. If I'm so this thing, I just get a spoon of honey. That is sweet. Honey is okay, right? Yeah.
honey is okay, but it's still a
Mm.
sugar. It's still a
Oh,
fast converting sugar for your body. So people
okay.
say, oh, honey's fine, it's a natural sugar. It is a natural sugar, but
Mm.
it still spikes your blood sugar. It's still going to give you inflammation. It still causes the same response as a spoonful of sugar would.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I love honey. And mentally, I tell
Mm.
myself that's a better sugar, but it still has the same effect in your body. So you notice if you just take out all sweet things, all sweet
Mm.
tasting things, yes,
Mm.
you will crave them for a little while. And there's nothing wrong with having sweet things now and again, okay? So um, a lot of us, like nutritionists or therapists or health coaches or fitness
Yeah.
coaches, we say give
Mm.
yourself some credits. Give yourself
Yeah.
like 4 credits for
Yeah.
something, you know?
Mm.
So
Mm.
choose wisely. Don't just go
Mm.
with your impulse. So
Mm.
say Saturday nights is my night, I have a dessert and stick to it.
Mm.
Don't
Yeah.
divert and then have it on Wednesday night or whatever you decide it is,
Yeah,
and
sometimes it
start
feels like we're
growing.
too hard on ourselves. Like, we more, yeah. So that's nice. That's balance.
It's
Don't, well,
not
yeah.
100%. I'm
Yeah.
not 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
I
you
am if
can't.
I'm doing a focused cleanse, I am, but I'm not
Mm.
100% the rest of the time. So give yourself these like 4 credits a week, for instance, and maybe you need five, and slowly you can take it down. And if you do that, I promise you, you'll start to realize the impact of the food you're eating. Also, keep a food diary. It's
Wow.
so helpful to keep a food diary. So if
Okay.
you have your sweet treat,
Mm.
and 2 hours later you're like slumped. Because you're
Yeah.
getting that sugar crash. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Right.
you're just napping, you're slumped, your brain fog is worse,
Mm.
you're not sleeping. One thing I did for a client, she was addicted to sweet things after
Mm.
her meal at night.
Mm.
And she was suffering from night sweats, like not sleeping at all. She
Oh.
just changed that. She stopped her nighttime treat
Mm.
and she lowered her treats and she moved it to the daytime. She now sleeps and she doesn't get night sweats.
That's lovely. Just a simple
So
alteration.
sugar is a huge trigger for menopausal symptoms, more than people
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's lovely. That's thank you
Yeah.
for all the lovely tips.
Um,
What do you want to tell about the prebiotics, postbiotics, and is there anything more so that people know what they're consuming? People are eating, taking probiotics, and there is something called prebiotics as well in the market. So how do one choose what is good for them? Can you just throw some highlights?
yeah, yeah, it's so confusing out there because there's so
Yeah.
many out there. Um, I personally work with a global wellness brand, which is a
Hmm.
scientific brand.
Oh.
So their probiotics, sorry, actually survive the stomach acid. That's what you want to be aware of. You want to be choosing a strain that actually helps populate all of the good bacteria. And I know that the ones I use or I recommend for people is a strain which actually helps boost more good bacteria to feed off it. So just in a quick summary, I'll try to explain the
Hmm.
difference between a probiotic. So the probiotics is what's on the shelves. It's the live bacteria. So it's the living thing.
Hmm.
So they are the things, the microorganisms that already live on us and in us. They are the living fungi, that living bacteria we had spoken about.
Hmm.
And the great places to get this, if you wasn't going to supplement, would be those fermented foods that we already
Hmm.
spoke about, because the fermented foods have those starters in them. They're called starters. A starter is a strain of bacteria. So the three Ks,
Hmm.
kimchi,
Hmm.
um, kefir, kombucha, which is a
Hmm.
drink. Have you heard of
Hmm. I
kombucha?
know. Yeah, yeah. Japanese drink, right? It's some Korean or Japanese drink, right? Yeah, I have tried it as well. Yeah, it did have a good impact. It's fermented
That's a,
drink. Yeah.
yeah, it's a fermented teas.
Tea,
And so
correct.
that, yeah, it's another way of getting any fermented, any live bacteria thing. We already
Oh,
spoke about
yeah.
natural
Hmm.
yogurt, not
Hmm.
the commercialized, sugar loaded, flavor loaded ones.
Yeah.
Just normal natural yogurt.
Homemade, probably.
Pickle Homemade is good, and
Yeah.
from our own cultures, homemade is popular in Indian culture with
Yeah.
getting the starter and heating and
Yeah.
making it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Correct.
homemade
Yeah.
is fantastic. Made
Hmm.
kefir
Hmm.
is great as well. And then all of the pickles like kimchi sour pickles, sauerkraut, sour pickles, so anything
Yeah.
sour. They
Okay.
are, and also sourdough bread is
Hmm.
also started with a starter.
Hmm.
So if you are going to have bread, get a good quality sourdough bread, not the commercial breads, which are full
Hmm.
of a lot of sugar and a lot of preservatives. And sourdough bread fresh should go off because it should only be the proper dough and the sourdough starter. You should not have all these preservatives and things in it. So, that is a good test of knowing if the food is good. If it lasts forever, you
Yeah.
know it's full of preservatives and
It's
additives.
preservative. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So look at the label. If it is more date, then you don't pick up that. That's how I do it to avoid, yeah, one way of avoiding it. That's nice. Fermented food and a natural way of getting the.
And that's the probiotic. The
Okay, yeah.
prebiotic,
Mm.
the prebiotic is real foods that the living things that the probiotics like to eat. So that
Oh,
populate them in a nice way.
yeah.
So prebiotics are things that your probiotics feed on, and they include a diverse amount of vegetables. Again, we are back to the vegetables,
Mm.
spices,
Mm.
herbs,
Mm.
fruits. the low sugar fruits with skins on, like tart fruits, like cherries, like tart apples, like Granny Smith's apples, Cox's apples, less sugar ones with the skins on. Tangerine, citrus fruits, although for some people that can cause a bit of gut irritation, so watch yourself. And then resistant starches. We talked about complex starches, also known as resistant starches. So we talked about wild rice, we talked about buckwheat. And then another food types that your probiotics like, which are also prebiotics, are foods from the allium family. Allium just means onion family. So it's
Oh,
things like leek, spring onion, red onion, yellow onion, white onion, bitter vegetables like radishes.
I know
They are all very, very good.
it's a long list, probably. Yeah. 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 Lovely. That's nice. I mean, let us start with small at least. It's a long list, but we should at least start. That's nice. So the prebiotics, it enhances the it enhances the probiotic segregation or enhances their quantity, right?
Diversity. Yeah, diversity
Diversity.
is what you're looking for.
Okay, cool, cool. Eh, this
And then there are things such as postbiotics.
Oh, this is very,
They're
very, very
humongous.
new to everybody. Like we are, I know, please, I'm very excited to know.
Yeah, so now they are discovering more and more about postbiotics. So when the prebiotics and the probiotics intersect,
Oh,
they're creating these postbiotics, which predominantly are short chain fatty acids or SCFAs, and
oh,
they have an immense amount of effect on your immune system.
oh,
So they're really good for your immune health.
oh, wow.
Um, and
Mm.
they come from whole diets. And there was a study, I'm not sure the exact study, but I know there was a study done with people who ate whole foods and COVID-19. And those that were on a whole food diet
Mm.
had either avoided COVID-19 altogether
Mm.
or had
Mm.
a better response and recovery on
Mm.
their own. And
Wow.
remember, 70% of your immune system
Mm.
is guess where? In your gut.
Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. And postbiotics, they are responsible for the immune system. Health. Oh,
Yeah.
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 That's a good information.
So you can see how it's so linked. And when it comes to menopause,
Yeah.
honestly, if you can improve the best diet still by many doctors, by the brain health and brain fog doctor Lisa Mosconi, and
Yeah, yeah.
many other people like Tim Spector, it still is a
Mm.
whole food Mediterranean style diet,
Mm. Mm.
avoiding processed foods, avoiding things that are in a packet, come from a factory, as pure as you can have it, foods in their own skins, which means fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, fish, meat, um, and resistant starches like wild rice and the other starches that we talked about, like quinoa, buckwheat. So you asked earlier, what is there left to eat? That's a ton of food. That is a ton of food.
Yeah, that's enough food still left to eat, but we are so used to carbohydrates, white rice, sugars. So it needs a complete change in the diet, the nutrition that we intake, if you wanted to live a healthy life. And at least thank you so much for sharing your knowledge because by at least now we know what alterations we could start with. And what are the how do you help women, menopausal women? Could you please tell about your services? I mean, what kind of programs that you have? Yeah.
Yes, so one of the ones is a signature program called the Purified Gut Reset Program.
Mm.
It's a 28-day program, and we go through exactly helping you to come off the sugar for a little while. To cut, remember, it's only for 28 days, and then you can start to introduce these things back into your diet, but on a balanced way, because you're going to feel so good.
Mm.
Everybody I've taken through this feels
Mm.
amazing. Not only do they feel amazing, it's not a weight loss program, it's a
Mm.
gut healing program.
Mm.
But
Mm.
most of the women I work with always lose between £7 and a stone. So that's a lot of weight by just
That's a lot
healing
of
your
weight.
gut system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we coach you through how to come off sugar. You have a 60-page recipe book of good gut-friendly recipes, including some little sweet stuff, including some breakfast bars that you can make yourself, which don't take any time. Work with your schedule. We help you by introducing um, a few supplements which help boost so for instance, a probiotic that survives the stomach acid, so it boosts your gut. Also, a fiber drink, so it boosts your fiber intake, and a protein drink, so it boosts your protein. And while you're doing that, you're healing, you're fixing your diet, and after the initial shock that because it is going to shock your body a little bit by just changing stuff,
Yeah.
like lowering caffeine and taking out alcohol. But
Mm.
after a while, you start to feel the pendulum goes the other way, and you feel so amazing that
Mm.
actually you continue this way of lifestyle. And I know a lot of women who have um, their inflammation goes down,
Yeah.
their menopausal brain fog goes down,
Mm.
their menopausal joint aches and
Mm.
pains, especially
Mm.
things like digit pain, like your fingers and your feet,
Mm.
and knee and all of that area goes down. And then they continue. And one lady I'm just thinking of right now, her sleep improved, her menopause symptoms went down.
Wow.
She lost 30 pounds during it, and
Oh, wow.
she's lost 28 pounds because she's continued with the principles of the diet, but not being 100%. And she's
Mm.
still feeling good
Mm. Mm. Wow, that's
and
so.
losing more weight, which is one of her major goals.
Mm.
And it's the
Oh,
belly weight that goes. It's the
oh,
abdomen.
abdomen weight. That
Yeah,
is one challenging thing, most stubborn weight to lose. And
yeah.
yeah, I hear women complaining about weight gain is one of the major concerns during this period. And yeah, and especially the mid region. Yeah, that's a lot of relief. That's a motivation for us to take the program. Just kidding. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
definitely it's because the bloatedness, the trapping of the toxins I was talking about earlier in your fat cells are in that area,
Mm,
especially as we get older, and
mm,
our metabolism goes down as we get older. Even our gut strength goes down as we get older. So it's really important to do these boosting challenges every now and again. I definitely do one at the beginning of the year, and
mm.
usually sort of try to do it every season so that I keep myself tip top. I know for myself, I was suffering from insomnia and night sweats. And
Oh.
the first time I did a proper gut cleanse, they completely went and they haven't returned. Haven't returned. And that was 2 years ago.
Oh, that's lovely. But do you think when you say that, the cleansing, it is fasting or, giving that intermediate fasting would help? Just, people who are doing it, that would really help for a better gut health as well. Fasting and intermediate
It
fasting.
definitely helps to give your digestion a rest. It certainly helps to give your digestion a rest. So that is
Oh.
one form of doing it.
Hmm.
So
Just
your
a rest.
digestion needs a rest. You shouldn't be constantly feeding throughout the day. That doesn't give your body time to assimilate the foods that you've eaten, to digest it properly and fully, give you a proper bowel movement ready for your next meal. It is good to have that gap. And it works for a lot of women to finish eating their last meal around 6, 7, maximum
Hmm.
8 in the
Hmm.
evening
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
fast right up until about 11 in the morning. And people are getting good results of
Hmm.
curbing their hunger, curbing their cravings, and also just feeling better in themselves by giving their digestion that big long rest so that they feel more energized, they sleep better as well. So, yes,
Yeah.
intermittent fasting can be for some people.
Hmm.
It's not for everybody, is what I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
also
just
for the body under
a side enhancer, what do you call it? It's one of the ways to boost it. That's it, one of the minimal way of doing it. It has some benefits in that. Yeah, fasting has some benefits.
it costs nothing and it has some benefits. It
Yeah,
helps
that's it.
to so a 24-hour fast can re heal your gut lining. A completely, I mean, just water.
Oh,
That's
really?
quite intense. So what I'm
Oh, that
saying
is
is
quite
it
intense.
can work and it does have, yeah. it can work and it does have benefits,
Mm.
but for some people, it can put the body under too much stress. And then if the body's under too much stress, the cortisol goes up. So it depends on the person, it depends on the woman or man, whoever is doing it. It depends. And also, there are certain times when you shouldn't fast if you're still having a period.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, it gets deeper. Let me, that's nice. This much information is really good for us to do. But I have, this led me to another question. Is it only about, is there anything else that we could do, like a movement, fitness, lifestyle changes that all, what more we could do to, in a daily basis, on a daily basis to have maintain a good gut health? Just one, some more, few more tips on, other than food.
I
Is that there?
love that question. Yeah. One
Uh,
of the things is dance or move.
oh,
Or,
wow.
yeah, honestly, yeah, honestly, your gut microbiome loves you
Oh,
moving.
wow.
Movement is one of the biggest things you can do
Mm,
because it really does make them happy.
mm.
And ultimately, it makes you happy. Have you ever seen somebody miserable dancing? Not really. Doesn't really
Yeah, no,
go
no,
together.
never,
Yeah.
never. Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, they love movement. So if you're moving a lot, great exercise is great for your gut microbiome, helps the diversity, helps them grow, helps them populate. They love it. And movement is so important for mental health. So it's all
Lovely.
connected. See, the thing is, it's all connected. You asked
It's
me
all
what other things.
integrated. Yeah, it's all integrated. Mind, body, soul. Yeah.
Absolutely. Sleep, movement, diet, exercise, all connected. All
Yeah.
connected. Stress
Holistic
management.
treatment. Okay.
Doesn't work on its own. So looking after your gut, it actually impacts all those pillars of health. Looking after your gut impacts your sleep, impacts your mood to be able to move because when you're down, you don't feel like moving. But if you have
Yeah.
boosted your serotonin, you feel like moving, you feel like dancing, you feel like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Um, so it impacts your pain threshold, your pain, your symptoms. So uh, nothing works in isolation in the body. Body, mind,
Love.
spirit, all connected. And yeah, so I really do love that question. It is a holistic approach. So all of those things, if you can improve your sleep, you can improve all those things.
So we could say
Um,
just
each
get
one
out
impacts the other.
moving as well, not just, with the gut health. Obviously, you will feel better to start moving as well. So integrate that as a part of menopausal management, right? In
Definitely, definitely. Even if it is your busiest, most stressful day, please make time for even just a 10-minute walk. If you can just get out, you can
Mm.
feel the air on your face, you can breathe that fresh air. It just gets you out of stagnant mood and phase. It's so important.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much for all the insightful knowledge that you've shared with us, along with your experience. And it's a complete whole package of information that we got from you today. Really lovely. I hope the viewers really find it beneficial. And thank you so much for your time and presence.